Hello and welcome to this 5th Sunday of Ordinary Time. Jesus has just come from his hometown, Nazareth, where he was rejected by everybody and he was almost killed there because they were so angry at him for disappointing them. And now he comes to begin his work. But he needs help. And who does he pick? He picks fishermen who can't read and they can't write. They might have had a little bit of understanding of reading and writing, but not much. Like Peter, they might have had a little bit of experience, because most of them, especially young men and boys, had to be bar mitzvahed, which means they had to be able to read some parts of the Old Testament in Hebrew in order to grow up and become men in society. But in general, we might assume that these are illiterate fishermen. Peter, who doesn't know him too well, although Andrew, his brother, knew him from St. John the Baptist's mission in and around the Sea of Galilee in Judea, and had spent time with Jesus, and he'd come back and he told Peter, his brother, that perhaps this was really the one they were looking for, the Messiah. But Peter wasn't particularly impressed. He must have been impressed when he heard Jesus talking, because when Jesus turned to him and finished talking, and he said to Peter very quietly, he said, "Now would you bring the boat out into the deep?" The deep means the centre of the lake. And Peter looks at him and says, "We've been fishing all night and we've caught nothing." Besides, the deep is a very dangerous place, he might say. That squalls that used to come in off the land and into the sea could take boats and throw them all over the lake, and people would perish if they went out too far into the deep. So people used to hang around the sides when they were fishing. In this way they were protected and they were safe. It was bad enough that Jesus asked him to go into the deep, meaning the dangerous part, but he also asked them to throw out their nets over the side. Now, if you were living as a fisherman around the Lake of Galilee, you would know that fish never appear during the daytime. And here's poor Peter, one of the best and well-known fishermen in the area. He's going to be tossing out his nets in broad daylight for all the other people around to see and make fun of him. But he obediently throws them out. The nets were thrown down into the sea, and all of a sudden, it was almost in an instant, they began to feel that the nets were filling with fish. And there were so many fish that when they were trying to get them into the boat, they had to call another boat to help them out because there wasn't enough room. And they filled both boats, and they were almost falling into the sea from the weight of their fish. Peter fell on his knees, and he no longer called him Master, which is Rabbi or Teacher. He said, "Lord," which means God. "Lord, depart from me, for I am a sinful man." He knew he was in the presence of something or someone special. Jesus said to Peter, "Do not be afraid. Come now. I will make you not a fisher of fish, but a fisher of men and women." And they brought the boats ashore, and Luke very dramatically says, "From that moment, every one of those fishermen left everything and followed him." Following him is not the real good word, because following him means he's a leader and they're all marching like soldiers. And so what the vocation means, in a sense, is to recognise deep down in our own hearts that Jesus is saying the very same thing to us as he said to Peter. Do not be afraid. Risk it. Give your whole life into my hands, and I will show you a world you never dreamed of. And I will bring you to a place, and the way might be difficult, but at the end you will know that you have found what your heart is longing for, what your heart has been hungering for all these days. And I will be there all these days, even until the end of the world.